Did you think you knew everything about the king? Are you ready to discover hidden gems that even some Elvis enthusiasts might have missed? Number 15. Tomorrow is a Long Time, 1966. Have you ever heard Elvis cover Bob Dylan? If not, you're missing out on one of his most haunting vocal performances. Tucked away on the Spin Out soundtrack album, Tomorrow is a Long Time shows a vulnerable, introspective Elvis that casual fans rarely get to experience. The song was recorded during the same sessions that produced How Great Thou Art, and Elvis brings that same spiritual intensity to this folk ballad. Dylan himself once called it the one Elvis recording I treasure the most, yet many fans don't even know it exists. Elvis stripped away his usual bombastic production and delivered a performance that's raw and emotional. The track features delicate acoustic guitar work and one of Elvis's most nuanced vocals, revealing the deep musical understanding that made him more than just a rock and roller. Many critics believe this recording shows what direction Elvis might have taken if he had more creative control during his movie years. The song remained relatively obscure until it was included on later compilations, but true Elvis aficionados have treasured this beautiful Dylan interpretation for decades. Number 14. Long Black Limousine, 1969. How would Elvis handle a song about a young woman who left for Hollywood fame only to return home dead in a funeral car? With devastating emotional power. Recorded during Elvis's legendary American Sound studio sessions in Memphis, this track opened his comeback album From Elvis in Memphis, but is overshadowed by hits like In the Ghetto and Suspicious Minds. The song's morbid narrative seems to foreshadow Elvis's own tragic end, making it especially poignant for fans who discover it years later. Elvis infuses the lyrics with a mix of sorrow and barely controlled rage, building to an explosive climax as he confronts the cruel irony of the protagonist's fate. The backing vocals add a gospel touch that emphasizes the funeral theme, while the Memphis rhythm section creates a tense, driving undercurrent. Producer Chips Moman captured Elvis at his most focused and emotionally available during these sessions. Elvis specifically requested to record this song, connecting with its themes of lost innocence and the dark side of fame, subjects he understood all too well. The track shows his ability to inhabit a character and tell a story through song, demonstrating his underappreciated talents as an interpretive singer. Number 13. Stranger in My Own Hometown, 1969. Ever wonder what would happen if Elvis fully embraced his blues roots? This Percy Mayfield cover from the Back in Memphis album shows exactly that, Elvis unleashed and unfiltered. Recorded during the same American Sound sessions that revitalized his career, this track features some of Elvis's grittiest vocals ever committed to tape. You can hear his frustration and determination as he belts out lines about returning home to find everything changed. The song's themes of alienation and displacement clearly resonated with Elvis, who, despite his fame, often felt disconnected from his roots. The Memphis musicians provide a hard, driving backdrop that allows Elvis to push his vocal to the edge, resulting in some impromptu cursing that surprisingly made it onto the final record, a rarity for Elvis releases. This track offers a glimpse of what Elvis might have sounded like in an unrestrained club setting rather than a controlled studio environment. The raw energy here connects directly back to his revolutionary early recordings while incorporating the musical maturity he developed through the 1960s. Despite its quality, the song was relegated to an album side rather than released as a single, keeping it hidden from casual fans who only know his chart hits. Number 12. Reconsider Baby, 1960. Did you know Elvis could wail on a blues classic with the best of them? This Lowell Fulson cover, From Elvis Is Back, showcases Elvis's deep affinity for the blues. Recorded just 2 weeks after his return from the Army in 1960. This track features Elvis at his most uninhibited, trading licks with saxophone player Boots Randolph in what feels like a spontaneous jam session. The recording has an immediacy and looseness that contrasts sharply with the more produced sound of his movie soundtracks that would soon follow. Elvis's vocal here demonstrates his remarkable ability to adapt his voice to different genres while maintaining his distinctive style. Saxophone solos were rare in Elvis recordings, making this track stand out in his catalog. The rhythm section swings hard, proving that Elvis could work with jazz-influenced musicians as effectively as rockabilly players. Producer Steve Scholes wisely chose to let the performance breathe, capturing a side of Elvis that wouldn't be heard again until his 1968 comeback special. Blues aficionados recognize this as one of the finest white blues performances of the era, though pop audiences largely overlooked it. This deep cut reveals Elvis's musical sophistication and his ability to honor the black artists who influenced him, delivering their material with respect and authentic feeling rather than merely imitating their style. Number 11. If I Can Dream, 1968. Can a song change the course of a career? This powerful anthem closed Elvis's 1968 NBC television special and marked a dramatic turning point in his artistic journey. While technically not an album deep cut, since it was released as a single, this song remains surprisingly underappreciated in the broader Elvis canon compared to his earlier hits. Written in response to the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy, If I Can Dream allowed Elvis to express his social conscience at a time when the country was in turmoil. The passionate, gospel-tinged performance featured Elvis pushing his vocal to its limits, resulting in one of his most emotionally charged recordings. Walter Earl Brown wrote the song specifically for Elvis after the singer requested something that reflected his concern about the state of the world. Elvis was so moved by the composition that he recorded it immediately after hearing it, completing it in just a few takes. The studio musicians reported being stunned by the intensity of his performance. Despite reaching #12 on the Billboard charts, the song has been somewhat overlooked in retrospectives of Elvis's career, perhaps because it doesn't fit neatly into either his rock and roll or ballad categories. The philosophical lyrics and orchestral arrangement reveal a more thoughtful, mature Elvis than many casual listeners associate with his image. Number 10. It Hurts Me, 1964. Have you ever discovered a B-side that outshines the hit it supported? It Hurts Me was the flip side to Kissin' Cousins, but stands as one of Elvis's finest 60s recordings. Co-written by Joy Byers and Charlie Daniels, yes, that Charlie Daniels of Devil Went Down to Georgia fame, this dramatic ballad gave Elvis a chance to showcase his dynamic range during a period dominated by mediocre movie songs. Elvis delivers the love-lorn lyrics with genuine emotion, building from a tender opening to a passionate conclusion. The arrangement features a driving rhythm section punctuated by timpani, hits that emphasize the song's dramatic structure. Elvis was reportedly fond of this recording, and disappointed it wasn't given proper promotion as an A-side. The song's quality stands in stark contrast to many of his soundtrack recordings from the same period. Elvis revisited the song during his 1968 comeback special, demonstrating his enduring connection to the material. Music critics have frequently cited "It Hurts Me" as evidence of what Elvis was capable of when given strong material during his movie years. The emotional authenticity in Elvis's delivery suggests he connected with the song's themes of unrequited love and noble suffering. Despite being largely unknown to casual fans, this track has maintained a special place among collectors who recognize it as a tango in Elvis's vast catalog. Number 9. Pieces of My Life, 1975. What happens when the King records a nakedly autobiographical country ballad? This overlooked gem from Elvis's Today album offers a rare glimpse into his personal reflections during the last years of his life. Released in 1975, just 2 years before his death, the song's lyrics about looking back on a life with both pride and regret take on additional poignancy in retrospect. Elvis delivers the confessional lyrics with restrained emotion that occasionally breaks through into raw vulnerability. The sparse arrangement highlights his mature vocal quality, with subtle steel guitar adding to the melancholic atmosphere. During this period, Elvis was suffering from numerous health problems and personal struggles, making the authentic feeling in his performance all the more revealing. Unlike many of his recordings, this track feels like Elvis is singing directly about his own experiences rather than interpreting someone else's words. The song was composed by Troy Seals, who later recalled being deeply moved when he heard Elvis's interpretation of his work. Despite being one of the most personal recordings in Elvis's catalog, Pieces of My Life received little attention upon release and remains unknown to many fans who are more familiar with his earlier work. The contemplative nature of the song showcases a side of Elvis that contradicts his flashier Vegas-era image, revealing the thoughtful man behind the sequined jumpsuits. Number 8. Just Pretend, 1970. Did you know Elvis recorded one of his most impressive vocal performances while film cameras were rolling? This Steinjo track from the Elvis That's the Way It Is album was captured during rehearsals for his Las Vegas shows in 1970. The song sings Elvis at the absolute peak of his vocal powers, demonstrating remarkable control as he glides between his baritone and falsetto ranges. The sweeping orchestral arrangement complements Elvis's grand performance without overwhelming it, creating a perfect balance between singer and accompaniment. Despite the song's quality, it was never released as a single, remaining a treasure for album buyers only. Elvis seems particularly invested in the romantic lyrics, delivering them with conviction and emotional nuance that elevates the material. The recording documents Elvis during what many music historians consider his last truly great period, when his voice retained its full power and his artistic choices were still relatively adventurous. The song has gained appreciation over the years as fans discover this hidden gem that demonstrates Elvis's versatility beyond his rock and gospel recordings. Studio musicians who worked with Elvis during this period have commented on his exceptional focus and commitment during these sessions. Just Pretend stands as evidence that even in his Vegas years, Elvis was capable of creating sophisticated, emotionally resonant music when inspired by quality material. Number 7. Power of My Love, 1969. Have you ever heard Elvis at his most primal and bluesy? This growling, grinding track from the From Elvis in Memphis album zanks a raw, sexually charged Elvis that casual fans might not recognize. Backed by the Memphis Boys at American Sound Studio, Elvis unleashes one of his most aggressive vocal performances, punctuated by animalistic growls and sensual asides. The swampy arrangement features distorted guitars, punchy horns, and insistent percussion that creates an almost hypnotic groove. This track reveals Elvis's continuing ability to create authentic rock and roll even as he entered his mid-30s. Producer Chips Moman encouraged Elvis to embrace this edgier sound, resulting in a performance that connects directly to his revolutionary early recordings while sounding thoroughly contemporary for 1969. The song's overtly sexual lyrics showcase an adult Elvis far removed from his semi-idyllic movie image. Despite never being released as a single, the track has become a favorite among serious Elvis fans who appreciate its unvarnished intensity. The record demonstrates Elvis's significant influence on the developing hard rock sound of the early 1970s. Had this side of Elvis been more widely promoted, it might have significantly changed perceptions of his artistic relevance during this period. The recording sessions for this track were reportedly charged with energy, with Elvis demanding multiple takes to capture the exact feeling he wanted. Number 6. Little Egypt, Live, 1974. Ever wondered what Elvis sounded like when he was truly having fun on stage? This obscure Leiber and Stoller song about an exotic dancer became an unexpected highlight in Elvis's mid-70s concerts, though few casual fans have heard it. Recorded for the Elvis as Recorded Live on Stage in Memphis album. Elvis's hometown concert recording captures him in playful, energetic form as he tells the story of the titular dancer with evident delight. The TCB band provides tight Roadhouse-style backing that harks back to Elvis's early days, while allowing him to bring his mature vocal power to the performance. Elvis adds humorous asides and occasionally breaks into laughter during the performance, providing a glimpse of his often overlooked comedic timing. This track contradicts the common perception that Elvis's 1970s shows were all bombast and no substance. When performed live, the song allowed Elvis to reconnect with his rock and roll roots and escape the confines of his expected repertoire. While the studio version appeared on his 1964 Roustabout soundtrack, the live version transforms the song into something far more vital and entertaining. Concert recordings like this offer insight into Elvis's natural charisma and his ability to command an audience's attention through storytelling. The playful interaction between Elvis and his band demonstrates the genuine musical camaraderie that existed despite the increasingly corporate nature of his career during this period. Number 5. I'll Hold You in My Heart, 1969. What happens when Elvis revisits one of his father's favorite songs? This tender ballad, recorded during the American Sound Sessions in 1969, shows Elvis paying tribute to his musical roots while demonstrating his mature vocal abilities. Originally a hit for Eddie Arnold in the 1940s, this country standard received a soulful reimagining in Elvis's hands. The song held special significance for Elvis, as it was a favorite of his father, Vernon Presley. Elvis delivers one of his most heartfelt vocal performances, investing the simple lyrics with profound emotional resonance. The track builds gradually from a gentle opening to a powerful conclusion, with Elvis displaying remarkable control throughout the dynamic range. Despite its quality, the song was initially relegated to the second album drawn from these sessions, Back in Memphis, receiving less attention than the hits from Elvis in Memphis. Elvis's interpretation bridges country, soul, and pop, demonstrating his unique ability to transcend genre limitations. The backing vocalists provide subtle support that enhances rather than competes with Elvis's lead, creating a warm, intimate atmosphere. This recording reveals Elvis's deep respect for traditional country music, even as he pushed into more contemporary sounds during this career-revitalizing period. The song's themes of eternal love and devotion, seem to have particularly resonated with Elvis, who delivers the lyrics with convincing sincerity and emotional investment. Number 4. Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin' On. Informal recording. 1970. Did you know Elvis once recorded an impromptu jam session that rivals his official releases? This informal recording, captured during rehearsals for his Las Vegas shows, reveals Elvis at his most uninhibited, tearing into Jerry Lee Lewis's classic with unbridled enthusiasm. Released on the Walk a Mile in My Shoes box set decades after it was recorded, this track provides a rare glimpse of Elvis making music purely for the joy of it, free from commercial considerations. Elvis's piano playing, rarely heard on his official recordings, drives the performance with surprising skill and authentic rock and roll energy. The casual nature of the recording, with Elvis calling out to band members and laughing between verses, creates an intimacy that contrasts with his more polished studio work. This performance demonstrates Elvis's enduring connection to his rock and roll roots, even as his official releases move toward more middle-of-the-road material. The spontaneity of the jam session captures the musical chemistry between Elvis and his TCB band that sometimes got lost in the more structured studio environment. Elvis sounds genuinely happy and engaged throughout the performance, providing a counterpoint to narratives about his dissatisfaction during this period. This recording has become a favorite among collectors who value these unguarded moments in Elvis's career. The track serves as evidence that Elvis remained a formidable rock and roll performer when inspired and unburdened by commercial expectations. Number 3. Trouble Guitar Man, 1968 NBC TV special. Can a single performance change the trajectory of a career? This electrifying medley from Elvis's 1968 comeback special certainly did just that, though its studio version remains less known than the hits it helped revive. While many know the televised performance, the studio recording featured on the soundtrack album captures a uniquely fierce quality that demonstrated Elvis could still create vital contemporary rock music. Elvis revisits trouble from his 1958 film King Creole with even more menace than the original. Then Pakey transitions into a funky version of Jerry Reed's Guitar Man. The arrangement features sharp staccato guitar work from Scotty Moore and driving percussion that creates an urgent, almost dangerous atmosphere. Elvis's vocal exudes confidence and authority, reclaiming his position as a relevant cultural force after years of lightweight movie roles. Director Steve Binder specifically chose these songs to showcase Elvis's edgier side, contrasting sharply with his recent movie image. The performance directly influenced the musical direction Elvis would pursue for the next few years, emphasizing more adult themes and contemporary sounds. This recording represents a critical juncture in Elvis's career, the moment when he decisively reconnected with his rock and roll identity. The musicians reported that Elvis was laser-focused during these sessions, determined to prove his continued relevance. Despite its historical importance, this track is often overshadowed by more familiar songs from the special, like If I Can Dream. Number 2. I'm Leavin', 1971. Have you heard the Elvis song that even die-hard fans consider a revelation? This hauntingly beautiful track from 1971 showcases a vulnerable, intimate vocal performance rarely associated with Elvis's bombastic image from this period. Written by Michael Jarrett and Sonny Charles, I'm Leavin' features sparse folk-influenced production that highlights Elvis's remarkable vocal control and emotional expressiveness. The arrangement employs unusual percussion elements and atmospheric guitars that create a dreamlike quality unlike anything else in Elvis's catalog. Elvis was reportedly so taken with the demo that he spent hours perfecting his approach to the song, resulting in one of his most nuanced studio performances. Despite Elvis's enthusiasm and a modest chart showing, RCA did little to promote the single, and it quickly disappeared from radio. The introspective nature of the song and its progressive arrangement demonstrate how Elvis continued to evolve musically even as his commercial appeal began to wane. Back rock vocalists Ginger and Mary Holiday provide ethereal harmonies that complement Elvis's delicate approach to the verses and more impassioned chorus. This recording reveals a side of Elvis that explored more contemporary sounds, connecting his work to the singer-Chilgar movement of the early 1970s. Producer Felton Jarvis created space in the mix for Elvis's voice to shine with minimal interference, resulting in a uniquely intimate listening experience. Over the decades, this track has become increasingly appreciated as one of Elvis's hidden masterpieces. Number 1. Merry Christmas, Baby, 1971. Ever wondered what Elvis would sound like unleashed on a blues Christmas standard? This extended, jam session-style recording from Elvis Sings the Wonderful World of Christmas reveals the king at his most relaxed and playful. Stretching to over 7 minutes in its unedited form, this Charles Brown classic gives Elvis room to improvise, interact with the musicians, and deliver one of his most authentic blues performances. Elvis sounds genuinely engaged throughout, growling, laughing, and directing the band as they create a loose, after-hours club atmosphere. Guitarist James Burton delivers tasteful blues licks, while Elvis demonstrates his rarely so-cate harmonica skills, adding to the track's spontaneous feel. This recording stands in sharp contrast to the more traditional Christmas fare on the album, offering a glimpse of Elvis's musical interests beyond his commercial releases. The extended length was unusual for an Elvis track, demonstrating his desire to explore the material more deeply than the standard 3-minute format allowed. Elvis's evident enjoyment throughout the performance contradicts the narrative that he was creatively disengaged during this period. This track connects directly to Elvis's love of rhythm and blues, a foundational element of his musical identity that sometimes got buried under more commercial considerations. Producer Felton Jarvis wisely allowed the tape to roll, capturing a relaxed, confident Elvis, making music on his own terms. Despite appearing on a Christmas album that sells well seasonally, this particular track remains largely unknown to casual Elvis fans. Do you think you really knew Elvis after all? Or is there still more to discover about the most scrutinized musical icon of the 20th century?